a secret meeting in a shadowy Riyadh cafe, a Pakistani woman on the run, and a Saudi man risking everything for love. What started as a quiet romance turned into a race for survival and a clash between honor, family, and forbidden truth. But what really happened in that alley? And why did they have to disappear? It was a hot afternoon in Riyadh. The sun hovered like a burning eye above the sand-swept city. The call to prayer echoed softly in the distance. Majid adjusted the collar of his thobe and checked his reflection in the shop window. He looked calm on the outside, but his hands trembled. In his breast pocket, a folded note lay heavy against his heart. A name, a meeting place. He read it again before slipping into the narrow alley behind the market. The air smelled of spice, dust, and warm bread. Children laughed in the distance. He took careful steps, his sandals tapping against the stone path. Behind a quiet cafe, she waited. Aliyah. She wore a simple scarf, her eyes hidden behind large sunglasses. She glanced at him, then back at her phone. Majid, she said, without looking up. He nodded, his throat dry. Her voice was softer than he remembered from their video calls. More real. They sat at the corner table inside the cafe, far from curious eyes. The waiter approached, then paused, sensing the tension. 2 mint teas arrived. Neither of them touched it. Majid leaned forward. We should not meet here, he whispered. Aliyah looked around. Her lips tightened. I had no choice, she replied. Then came the sound. A loud crash outside. Majid jumped. Someone shouted. Boots scraped against the pavement. He turned toward the window. 2 men stood there, scanning the cafe. Their faces were hard, expressionless. Majid's stomach sank. Aliyah's fingers gripped her scarf. They followed me, she said. Her voice was barely audible. Majid's heartbeat thundered in his ears. The men entered, slow and deliberate. One of them locked eyes with Majid. He froze. The other reached into his jacket. Majid felt his breath catch. Every sound in the room faded. All he could hear was the ringing in his ears. He looked at Aliyah. Her eyes were wide. She whispered something. He could not understand it. Then, the man pulled out a phone. He spoke into it in rapid Arabic. Not a weapon. Not yet. But Majid did not feel relief. The danger still pressed down on him like a weight. Aliyah stood up slowly. Her chair scraped against the tile, a sharp screech that turned heads. The men began walking toward them. Majid's hand brushed hers under the table. Her fingers were cold. He could feel them tremble. Go to the back door, she whispered. Majid hesitated. They know, she said. Her voice cracked. I told no one, he replied. She looked at him, and in that look was fear, guilt, and something else. Resignation. The taller man reached their table. His hand hovered near his belt. Majid stood. The man raised his palm. Sit, he said in a flat voice. Aliyah sat. Majid did not. Who are you? He asked. The second man pulled out an ID badge. It was not police. Not military. It was worse. Private. Unmarked. No name. Just a symbol. A golden falcon. Majid's knees weakened. He had heard of them. Silent watchers. Aliyah's phone buzzed. She looked at the screen and went pale. Majid reached for it, but she pulled it away. It is my brother, she said. Her voice was hollow. They know everything. Majid looked around. The cafe seemed frozen in time. No one moved. No one spoke. Even the waiter had vanished. Come with us, the man said. Not a request. Aliyah nodded. Majid did not. He clenched his fists. She is not a criminal, he said. The man smiled. Cold. Empty. Neither are you, he replied. But you crossed a line. The air grew heavy. Majid felt the walls closing in. He turned to Aliyah one last time. Her eyes brimmed with tears she would not let fall. And then, she reached for his hand. Her grip was firm now. No more trembling. Only silent defiance. The men stepped closer. Majid looked at her, heart pounding. Do not go with them, he said under his breath. They will not stop, she answered. One of the men tapped his foot impatiently. "We do not have all day," he muttered. Majid felt something shift inside him. A flicker of fire. He pulled Aliyah behind him. "You will not take her," he said. His voice echoed louder than he expected. People outside turned to look through the windows. The two men moved fast. One reached for Majid's arm. Majid shoved him back. A scuffle broke out. Chairs clattered. The table flipped. Hot mint tea spilled across the floor. Aliyah screamed. Majid threw a punch. It landed. The man staggered. The second lunged. Majid ducked. The exit. Aliyah bolted for it. Majid followed. Footsteps thundered behind them, out into the blinding sun. The alley twisted sharply to the left. They ran. Past market stalls. Past stunned faces. Past the life Majid once knew. He could hear shouting behind them, not in Arabic. "Urdu." Aliyah stopped short. Ahead stood a third man. Not one of the two from before. Older. Familiar. Her brother. He looked at her, eyes wide with disbelief and rage. She took a step back. Majid stood in front of her again. Her brother raised a hand, pointing at Majid. "You have ruined her," he said. His voice was shaking. But it was not anger. It was heartbreak. Majid opened his mouth to speak. Then came the sharp clap of hands behind them. The other two had caught up. There was no more running. Not forward. Not back. Surrounded by stone walls and shattered trust. Majid looked at Aliyah one last time. And in her eyes, he saw what they had truly done. He saw what they had truly done. They had broken something sacred. Not just rules, but hopes. Dreams whispered across borders. Love born in silence. Now buried in noise. Aliyah stepped forward. Past Majid. Past the weight of fear. She faced her brother. "I chose this," she said. Her voice was steady. He stared at her as if seeing a stranger. The other two men looked unsure now. Their orders had no script for this. Majid reached for her hand again. Her brother's fists clenched. But he did not strike. Instead, he turned and walked away. The others looked at each other. Then at Majid and Aliyah. The taller one spoke into his phone. A short phrase. Then silence. He turned to Majid. "You will both leave," he said. "Today." No threats. Just finality. Majid nodded. The air felt thinner. Lighter somehow. But not safe. Aliyah's scarf fluttered in the breeze. Her eyes stayed locked on the alley her brother had vanished into. Tears slipped down her cheek now. She did not wipe them. Majid squeezed her hand. "We leave," he whispered. She nodded. Not with joy. Not with fear. But with the strength that comes when there is nothing left to lose. They stepped away from the alley. Into the street. Into the unknown. And behind them, the shadow of two families, two worlds, and one forbidden truth. Watch them disappear. Watch them disappear. Into the blur of heat and dust. Into a city that had never felt so foreign. Each step was heavy. Each glance over the shoulder, a question. Would they be followed again? Would this ever be over? But they kept moving. Past vendors who did not speak. Past whispers that felt like knives. Aliyah's hand trembled once more. Not from fear, but from letting go. Letting go of everything she once knew. Her language. Her home. Her blood. Majid saw it in her eyes. She was walking beside him. But inside, a storm raged. He wanted to speak. To offer her something. But words felt empty now. Instead, he led her to the station. Old buses lined up like rusted giants. Fumes filled the air. The scent of diesel and desperation. They found a seat in the back. No one looked at them. Or maybe everyone did. The engine roared. The city shrank behind them. Minarets faded into the horizon. Aliyah leaned her head on the window. Her reflection stared back. Unfamiliar. Majid watched her silently. He wanted to promise her peace. But he could not. He could only promise presence. And as the road stretched ahead, endless and unknown, she whispered, almost too softly to hear, "Do you regret it?" Majid turned to her. "No," he said. His voice was hoarse. "Do you?" She did not answer. Not right away. Not with words. Only with a slow, deliberate shake of her head. And for a moment, that was enough. The bus rolled on through the barren outskirts. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows over the road. Fields of sand blurred into distant hills. A stillness settled between them. Not silence, but something quieter, something softer. Majid closed his eyes for a moment. He could still hear the cafe, the shouting, the footsteps.
But now,
only the hum of the engine remained. Aliyah sat upright again, brushing hair from her face. Her eyes met his. Tired, but alive. They had no destination written in stone. No plan more than escape. But they had something stronger.
choice.
And each other. Majid reached into his pocket. The folded note still rested there. Crumpled, worn, but intact. He handed it to her. She smiled faintly, not because of what it said, but because it had survived.
Just like them.
The bus curved toward the highway. Lights flickered in the distance. A new city. A new chance. Behind them, stories would twist. Lies would be told. But the truth belonged to them alone. And as the sun slipped below the horizon, two hands remained clasped in quiet defiance. Unbroken, unforgotten, unashamed. The story of a Saudi Arabian man and a Pakistani woman ended not in fear, but in freedom.